I am taking the gloves off for this reality check because, frankly, I am tired of the lies the gaming industry reciprocates. We all have seen the footage by now for Watchdogs Legion at the Ubisoft Forward Digital event. Ooh boy. Yeah. Can I expect them to deliver on some of these points? Perhaps. But will they deliver what is promised? You know the answer, folks.
Really thought I took you under my wing. I gave you a call because I thought you were capable, and yet here you are. You couldn't get the job done. I mean, you couldn't even steal Marcus's laptop. Heck this.
Strong in our friendship, tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to.
The future, my friend, is not high-tech. The future is low-tech. Now, I'm not exactly the biggest Watch Dogs fan. I do, however, enjoy the thought of taking hacking to some new level. This kind of idea where it's punks versus the corporation. You know, a pre-cyberpunk idea. Now, what I'd say Watchdogs Legion accomplishes most is the fact that any NPC is pretty much available to you. They did not lie about that. In fact, I'm quite pleasantly surprised by this. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the positives. Unfortunately, this game fails to deliver on many fronts. And, I mean, I'm not too picky when it comes to graphics. I like games like Doom and Quake, and, it's okay for me to go back to those games. The retros, they're classics, they're fine. So graphics aren't the first thing I look for in a video game. But here in Watch Dogs Legion, it unfortunately seems as though they have downgraded the graphics even further beyond Watch Dogs 2. And Watch Dogs 2, although wasn't a looker, it was just fine. It was just fine looking. And if we could have stayed on that same graphical level, that would have been great. But unfortunately, so many textures just look atrocious. The cars in... Oh my gosh, the cars, the reflections, all this bad-looking, low-res JPEG texture crap is just so dauntingly... it's just... It bugs me. Let's just say that. Let's just put it that way. It bugs me. So, as I immerse myself into the world of Watch Dogs 2, I notice that they sell the world so well that I almost don't even care what the story is of that game, and nor do I really know. I know Marcus is joining DedSec. I know there's some kind of revolution happening within. That's about it. But for Watch Dogs Legion, the story is so incredibly dull, bland, and just... really, it's barely there. The story takes a back seat to everything else that is there. The presentation of the NPCs, how you can actually be any NPC, which is cool, but they're all so generic and boring, and I understand that's hard to provide a lot of detail. I know these NPCs are procedurally generated, or they're just a certain stock of NPCs that it goes through like a catalog, and it produces whatever it can with certain combinations. And I understand that has its limitations, but God, they are the ugliest NPCs I've ever seen in any video game. And that's dead honest right there. The ugliest NPCs I've ever seen in any video game.
Hey, sorry, you do know this isn't like a normal club, right?
What?
There's no DJ type shit here. You can't like grab a drink and dance your bad day away. We're throwing down here, doing some bare knuckle boxing.
No shit, Doctor.
All right. Look, no need to get snippy. I just want to make sure you were looking for a fist in the face and not the...
And the animations themselves are really a backward step. I really do not understand why it's so hard to produce good-looking animations. I mean, at points you'll have a grandpa character who has a shotgun. That's the main appeal. I chose this old politician who has a shotgun because he has a shotgun. And he walks and acts like he can't take cover and do all this stuff, but sometimes he'll just do certain things that don't make any sense, like vault like he's a very young man, and it doesn't sell me. The characters, just awful. And the ones we never really interact with or get to see, who are these off-screen, high-power, cyberpunk-type people who are pretty much in charge of what you do. They give you missions and tell you how to go about things. I really feel no connection to them because they're just, it's like Mission Impossible. The guy pops up on the screen, says, do this, you go do it. And, I mean, that may be fine for some people, but there are no character elements of this game. There are really just very limited qualities when it comes to, how to interpret different NPCs. They don't have a level of character where you can even really grasp anything different from like a cop versus bad guy. That's the closest you can differentiate these NPCs, and that's really it. A major portion of Watchdogs Legion is comprised of crawling around as the spider bot, connecting nodes. I was under the impression that it wasn't a forced mechanic apart from the introduction section of the game, but another major portion of Legion is flying around as a drone, usually connecting nodes or flying around in microchip land. I'm quite frankly not even kidding when I say I quit the game because of how many times I had to connect nodes or use the spider bot. Like, that should just not be something that is forced upon us gamers. I did enjoy flying around as the drone with guns on it, though. That was pretty interesting. But still, it's a Ubisoft game when it comes down to it. The hand-to-hand combat and gunplay is unfortunately another misstep when it comes to Watch Dogs. I do think they accomplished the goal of making your character look like John Wick a whole bunch of times. And, I mean, that's cool to a certain extent, but when every character can kind of do that same thing, it's not all that great. If a character has a firearm, they pretty much will have that maneuver, like of some kind. It just comes down to slightly different animations, slightly different reaction times. It's also drab and underwhelming.
Get him out of here.
You're a lifesaver. Cheers.
I can't grasp how they didn't try harder. I mean, I know it's not Watch Dogs 3, mind you, but this is a Watch Dogs title, and it was supposed to be huge. It was supposed to be massive, and unfortunately, it is underwhelming in most categories. I do think the soundtrack is pretty bumpin'. I do enjoy it quite a bit. It has a nice hardcore station. There's a few rap stations that I think are pretty decent. And of course, it's got the classics. Oh man. I tell you what, a little bit of classical music never hurt you guys. Try it sometime. Anyway, aside from the music and a few of the aesthetics. There really is not much going on in this game. It's fun, of course, to do the normal Watch Dogs thing that I also did in Saints Row. You just drive down the street and plow everything. That's the most fun I have in this game. You just plow down everything. It's incredible how powerful these vehicles are, just crushing everything in their wake. Even other cars, even tanks, for that matter, you will hit them so hard. It's like, dude, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I will say that about Ubisoft. I do like the driving aspect quite a bit, although I think some things are a backstep from Watch Dogs 2, and I would get more into that, but let's move the wheels, because this game is already forgotten about. I would say, out of everything, it seems to fail hardest at its online mode that was promised long ago and delayed, and recently came out. I found it to be unplayable. I tried several times for a couple days, and nothing came to fruition. The tree unfortunately shriveled up, and I said, well, fuck this tree. Tore it down and burnt it. Threw it in the fireplace and, used it for warmth. I tell you this much. I wasn't looking forward to the online for Watchdogs Legion. I wasn't looking forward to this game at all because I knew they weren't going to deliver. So when it comes to Watchdogs Legion, what is it worth? I really don't know. I got it for free, thankfully. A beautiful supporter of the show handed it over and said, well, here you go, Dillon. I know you've been looking forward to this. And I said, well, what? Huh? I wasn't, but thanks. So I was gifted the game, and now I'm doing this review because, frankly, this is another one of those titles where the people in charge lied so hard that they deserve some kind of snapback. They deserve some kind of slap on the wrist because this is a shady practice. This is a shady tactic when it comes to marketing, where they promise so much and deliver so little. And the supposed open world, open world my ass. There's no elements that really sell this world. There's nothing you can go out and do. Oh, play darts? A horrible representation of darts. You can go to the bar and have a drink. Go to the pub and, have a pint. It's like, dude, I don't care. Do not care. That the level of detail we're talking about in this game is that of Saints Row 1. I mean, it is a sandbox. There's nothing happening. Open world, though? The world isn't really open necessarily. It's hard to define what these games are becoming, but unfortunately Watchdogs Legion misses the mark, and I just cannot suggest it for any amount of money unless, you were gifted it. It turns out $5 one day, $7 maybe. Bros, I'm gonna tell it to you like this. It just is not what was promised. It was not what was expected. They did not deliver on behalf of all the Watch Dogs fans. And I know there's, a decent amount. Watch Dogs 2 really hit that mark, and I am so glad it exists, because now I can go back and play it, and it's actually decent. It is a complete step forward from what is Watch Dogs Legion, and I do not recommend Watch Dogs Legion. Thank you for tuning into this review. This was Dillon and the Details. We got down to the brass tacks, of course. And frankly, I'd like to thank my patrons for being so awesome. So, thank you once again for stopping by. The upgrade is in fact here. I am slowly but surely building that ark, and we are sailing to the Truth Mountain. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, but just wanted to say thank you guys once again. Have a great one. In fact, have a better than great one. Have a badass one. Thank you.